Hello. Well, I am pretty sure that we all call the TVA being evil, so no surprises there. But also, on this here Pride Month 2021, we got a bit of both. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. I'm Ace of Nina and it is time for a review of Loki episode 3 Lamentis. I'm not really sure how I feel about this episode. They did drop a couple of reset charges on us that completely changed what we thought about the story so far. But at the same time, this episode felt a lot more separated from the others, and it once again ended on a what I feel is unnecessary cliffhanger, because we know that the main character, the titled main character, is not going to die in episode 3 because there's 3 more episodes. We know that's not happening, so it just felt kind of unnecessary. Anyways, before we get fully into my plot summary and review, please make sure to subscribe to my channel if you want to watch more of my videos, and like and comment on this video because it helps with engagement. So we start off episode 3 back in episode 2 at Roxmart, Roxon, the superstore, where Lady Loki has enchanted the hunter that she kidnapped at the beginning of episode 2. So we see into her enchantment and we see that she puts people into old memories until she can essentially get them to answer all of her questions. The hunter and Lady Loki are in a restaurant that appears to be in present day times, and Lady Loki asks the hunter questions until she tells Lady Loki that the elevators that lead to the timekeepers are gold. We then fast forward to the end of episode 2, where Lady Loki and Loki, who we know follows her through, both end up in the TVA, where Lady Loki prunes a couple of guards, and she's able to use her magic even though it doesn't have any effect, unlike Loki in episode 1, who is not able to use his magic at all. I'm not sure why that is the case, but it is an interesting difference to note. Lady Loki gets to the gold elevators, and then Loki catches up to her with his knives. They get into another much more even fight this time, before the judge, Ravana, gets to them, and to prevent both of them from getting disintegrated, Loki steals Lady Loki's tempad and teleports them to some apocalypse. Unfortunately, the tempad runs out of battery, so now they are stuck on a planet-wide apocalypse on Lamentis 1. So now they are stuck on a planet-wide no-survivor apocalypse on Lamentis 1, unless they can somehow figure out how to recharge that tempad. Lady Loki also gets very upset with Loki, telling him never to call her that. They escape from meteors, slash the parts of the planet crashing down onto them, and then she tries and fails to enchant Loki. Sylvie, as she now goes by, explains that her plan has been years in the making before Loki screwed it up. They get to a house to try to either get something to charge the tempad or figure out their next steps, and first Sylvie and then Loki both fail at defeating and then convincing the old lady inside that house to let them get in. However, they do find out about a train that will lead them to an arc that could be an energy source, and they work together reluctantly, using first his magic, and when just that alone almost gets them caught, her enchantment, to get onto the train that will lead them to the arc that the planet's rich are using to escape the planet, so that they can suck the energy out of it and use it to recharge their tempad. Once on the train, Loki and Sylvie have a conversation talking about their respective lives, where we find out that, unlike Loki, Sylvie knew that she was adopted growing up and she can barely remember her mother. We also learned that her mother did not teach her magic, i.e. her mother was not Frigga. So, knowing that the TVA are a bunch of shady-ass people, I have some theories about Sylvie. Now, Sylvie's life seems to have been wildly different from Loki's. Importantly, it seems to have started differently. Even though she might be a Loki, it seems fairly clear that she was not raised by Frigga and Odin, and or that she was separated from her parents quite early in life. Now, firstly, what exactly is it that makes Sylvie a variant? Because she doesn't seem to be a variant as the TVA defines them. According to the TVA, a variant is created when someone on the sacred timeline, supposedly the only timeline, but now I'm suspicious, makes a decision or choice that causes a nexus event that can cause a branch timeline. However, for that to be true, Sylvie would have had to be raised the exact same way that Loki was. Now there are 2 potential branch-offs here. Either Sylvie was raised by Odin and Frigga, but she was told that she was adopted, and that caused a Nexus event, and that caused her to be a variant, which should not be the case, because if that was the case, then it would be whoever told her that was actually causing the Nexus event. Therefore, they would be the variant and not her. Or she's not from the sacred timeline. Now, what I think happened is that at some point in Sylvie's life, a Nexus event was created far back enough, but fast enough, that a branch timeline was also created. And by the time that the timekeepers had arrived, she had developed enough that she was completely different from any of the other Lokis. Or, so I think that either what happened is that the branch timeline was created so early, the TVA couldn't do anything about it, or that Sylvie is not from the sacred timeline. I think that what could have happened is that Sylvie is a Loki from the multiverse. So I think that what could have happened, and I also credit like everybody talking about the multiverse on TikTok because they give me some good things to think about. I think that Sylvie is a Loki from the multiverse. I think that the timekeepers are lying about there only being one timeline. I think it's rather that they're only able to control one timeline. And that's why they're pruning all of the branches and everybody who sets off potential branch timelines, because the more that are created, the more that there's a possibility that they won't be able to control any timeline at all. I think that she was possibly one of the people who existed in the other multiverses, and that maybe during the multiversal war, she was somehow brought into the Timekeeper's sacred timeline against her will, and that's the reason that her plan has been years in the making. Because she has literally spent the entirety of the time that the sacred timeline existed, i.e. like who even knows how long, trying to figure out how to defeat the Timekeepers. It's kind of a long shot, but anything can happen in the Bronx. Or in this case, the MCU. I'm just saying, I don't think she's a Loki as we know her. Also, I am a little confused as to how she's been hiding for years. Like, she had to have gotten that tempad and hidden in apocalypses. She had to have attacked somebody at one point, in which case they should have her variant energy and should be able to track her. Like, she would have had to have attacked them at some point. Or one of her parents was the variants? I am theorizing literally right in front of the camera, but what if one of her parents was actually the variants because they told her that she was adopted? Okay. Separate theory from her being from the multiverse. What if they were part of the sacred timeline? One of her parents was a variant because they told her that she was adopted, which clearly wasn't supposed to happen because it didn't happen to Loki. However, her parent was powerful, and as a result, they were able to kill all of the hunters that were chasing them, steal their equipment, and run away. She's been planning this for years because her parent was killed by the TVA. I just want more backstory on Sylvie. Where did she come from? Where did she go? Where did she come from? In the train, they start talking about love because of the old woman who they tried and failed to get out of her house. And with that, we get canon confirmation that Loki is bisexual, making Loki the first lead Marvel character in the MCU to get confirmed as part of the LGBT. Also, that means like he definitely had a thing with the Grandmaster, right? In Thor Ragnarok. Like that was what the whole winking scene was about, right? It's my headcanon. Sylvie decides to get some rest on the train, but when she wakes up, Loki is super drunk and is drawing attention to himself by singing, although it's probably because he's grieving that everybody he knows is going to die and there's nothing he can do to stop it. Even though he might have had his reasons, it causes him to be unable to control his magic, so when the guards come, after a short fight, he gets thrown out of the train and Sylvie follows him because he has the tempad. However, the way that he landed causes the tempad to break, so now they're shit out of luck. They decide after a conversation / argument and Sylvie's scream, which was same. Sometimes I too wish I could scream. Just for a minute, just scream out loud, that'd be nice. That they are going to try to get to the Ark and change the future instead. On the way over, Sylvie spills the information that every single hunter / person working at the TVA was once a variant, which is completely different from what Loki and we as the audience have been told, that they were created by the Timekeepers. So the Timekeepers are not as omnipotent and as all-powerful as we thought. They just seem to have either very good magic or technology. Which also brings us back to the hunter from the beginning of the episode. Her repeatedly saying it's all real was, I think, because through Sylvie's enchantment, she had unlocked the hunter's old memories that had been forcefully clouded over by the Timekeepers and the TVA, which I'm hoping means that she will join Team Loki because she's cool. They get to the place where the Ark is, and there's a super cool shot of them trying to get to the Ark and fighting the guards who are for some reason still fighting even though they are literally being left for dead. I'm not understanding this. But in the end, it gets destroyed right in front of them, and the episode ends with Loki staring at the Ark in disbelief and Sylvie just walking away. So I do kind of get that they wanted to end this on a low note. If it had ended with them somehow getting rescued, it would have ended semi-hopefully, and I guess that they didn't want that for this episode. But at the same time, we know that Loki is not going to die. Obviously, he's not going to die. This episode did also feel a lot more separate from the other two. All three of them have felt like they had a lot of exposition. This episode was a sort of forced bonding moment for Sylvie and Loki, I think, so that it would make sense for them to be on the same side in the future. And I think the revelation that the timekeepers, the revelation that the hunters were actually once variants is going to be reason for Mobius to break with the TVA and join their side. Maybe that's why he likes jet skis. Maybe his variant thing was that he used a jet ski. Alright, and that is the end of this video. I hope you liked this video, and if you did like it, please make sure to like down there and comment letting me know what your theories are about the TVA and or Loki and or Sylvie. Also make sure to subscribe to my channel for future content. Bye!